All right, guys, let's take a look at this launch trailer, Arc Raiders, which, by the way, Arc Raiders launches this Friday, Thursday, Friday. What day is it? I tell you, man, when you have a kid, time just doesn't make sense anymore. Thursday. Launches Thursday. Jesus. All right, let's take a look at this.
Doors are closing in 5, 4, 1.
They said the world above had ended. But endings are only for those who forgot how to begin again. So you learn to listen, to move quiet, think fast. Be ready to change your mind. Up there, the roads are twisted. The rules are gone. But if you are brave enough to wander and seek, who knows what you might find.
Hey, don't shoot!
Hey, look at this. They need ducks. Come on. Apollo ain't paying enough for this. That's why I was asking for a minigun.
All right, how are we feeling, guys? Are you hyped about Arc Raiders? Marathon is shaking in the corner. I don't know, man. I've been hearing stuff. You guys, I've been hearing some stuff on Twitter, other places. People are saying Marathon is it. It is. It's a great game. People are saying that the playtest has been fantastic. I don't know, man. I don't know. But Marathon doesn't even matter right now because Marathon's not out. This game is coming out, and it's coming out very, very soon. And it's going to have to contend with all the other extraction shooters. But I will say this, what you experience from the most recent playtest was such a small amount of what's actually present in the game. I think someone said somewhere around like 10%. And we'll have more to share in the days to come. But the game is massive, dude. That's all I can say. The game is massive. There is so much to do. And some of you got to play through the entire playtest over the summer, and you know how big the game is. So I have a lot of love for this game, even though originally I did want it to be that looter shooter. I understand the pivot. It makes sense. And I actually do like it. And despite me not even being that huge of a fan of extraction shooters. But we'll see how this one plays out over the long run. I heard Arc Raiders has a 10-year plan. Yeah, that's exactly what the developer says. So we did the interview breakdown here recently, and they go into details of essentially like what led to, you know, why they developed things a certain way. For instance, you know, not giving certain hit marks or damage numbers for feedback. That they said they didn't want to ruin the immersion, and so that's why you have to kind of like pay attention. Do you see like the arc shield break, the actual shield of the opponent that you're shooting? Do you see puffs of blood, things like that? So that draws you into the into those confrontations, and it keeps that immersion. But one of the big things they brought up is that the game, or at least their plan, although not having a definitive roadmap, they do have a 10-year plan for Arc Raiders, which definitely seems... Y'all remember when we heard that the first time from Bungie about Destiny? Y'all remember that? Y'all remember when Bungie came out and said, hey, we've got a 10-year plan for Destiny? We were like, what? 10 years? I don't know. I like hearing that, you know, the developers, they feel strongly enough about the product. And these devs, I think during their interview, man, you know, they were giving fantastic answers, very well thought out. And even when they had to navigate paths, like whenever, you know, it was brought up about Marathon, I love how they just, you know, it was kind of, you know, the way they approached it was very careful, but they essentially said that there's a world in which both games can coexist because Marathon is going for like that sci-fi futuristic, right, approach. But they said that specifically during Marathon's alpha this past summer, that they learned a lot, and they treated it as like an A/B test, if you will. And I would imagine so, you know, because man, these two games, when they first start, when Marathon had its play test and Arc Raiders had theirs, you almost got to see all the potholes you can possibly hit, which Marathon hit just about every fucking one of them. Let's be clear. Just about every fuck up you could possibly hit, Marathon hit it during its playtest, including the art scandal that followed. And you know, Embark was probably taking notes, as they should. Anyways, I'm excited about this game. I think, again, if you played the most recent playtest and you thought to yourself, or during the server slam, you thought to yourself, man, this doesn't seem like there's a lot to this game. Keep in mind that was one map that just won. There's going to be a lot more maps than that. There's going to be a lot more content, and as many have pointed out, it's somewhere around like 10% of what you could do, what you got to experience during that server slam. There's way more content, and I think what's going to really make this extraction shooter successful is if it takes players like us who are not necessarily diehard extraction fans and turns us into fans of this genre. This could be the first game that really, you know, that really pulls me in to then, I don't know, dabble into other extractions. Maybe we might actually try out Tarkov. Is this a sponsor stream? Does it sound sponsored? Do I sound like I'm glazing Arc Raiders? Let me just say it like this for those that think this is sponsored. I think Arc Raiders beats the absolute brakes off of Marathon in almost every fucking way. Now, we shall see what happens in the future. But if I had to nominate a game for my looter friends to potentially try to get them into the extraction realm, okay, I would probably recommend Arc Raiders. I will say this, guys, seeing just the numbers from, you know, for instance, what is it? Escape from Duckov or something like that? Yeah, I guess and I haven't played that game yet. We're going to try it. But there's obviously people out there that are enjoying extractions. And we'll see what plays out with Arc Raiders. I will say one thing that was brought up here recently was that there was going to be gear-based matchmaking in Arc Raiders, which I was incredibly worried about when I saw. Essentially, the idea is that if you have really good gear, you would be matched up against other people with really good gear. Since then, the developers have come out and said that won't be the case. And that'll be, I want to say, open matchmaking, correct? So, yeah, I didn't like the idea of that. You know what I mean? I really like the randomness, you know, because if you're sitting there and you're ratting around the map and you're watching three teams kill the piss out of each other, and they, you know, one guy kills another guy and another guy kills the other guy, and then there's a final 1v1 and that guy kills that other guy, and then that guy who's sitting there one shot, he's like, I did it. I slayed the last guy. And he turns around to his teammates to res them so they can loot this amazing loot. That's the point you want to come in and rat him. You know what I'm saying? You grief that last guy, you kill him, and lo and behold, you could be walking into some of the best loot in the game. You don't want to be in a situation where you kill that last guy and you have this horde wall of gear that could be dropping. You know what I mean?
Slap that like button like your mama told you right.